Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're taking a really fascinating look into the heart of the electric vehicle revolution. We're going to explore how EV charging is rapidly evolving away from a world of fixed stationary plugs into this incredibly dynamic, on-demand ecosystem. Okay, let's dive into this.
Picture this. It's the ultimate nightmare for any new electric vehicle owner, right? You're cruising along, enjoying that amazingly quiet, smooth ride, and then, boom. You see that battery percentage just drop to zero. What actually happens when your EV battery dies miles from a plug? Well, that creeping dread is what we call range anxiety. And honestly, it's one of the most relatable, common barriers keeping everyday drivers from making the leap to electric.
So let's get right into it. Section 1. Curing EV range anxiety. If we want to see mass adoption of EVs, we absolutely have to solve this hurdle of finding a reliable place to plug in. Take a look at this ratio, 29:1. That's not just some random number pulled out of thin air. In the United States right now, there are 29 electric vehicles on the road for every single public charging port. Crazy, right? When you hear that stark reality, it makes total sense why folks get a bit jittery about taking their EV on a long road trip.
Because, let's be real, it's not just about the sheer number of chargers out there, it's about whether they actually work. Right now, banking purely on public chargers is kind of a roll of the dice. A staggering 1 in 5 charging attempts completely fail, usually just because of technical glitches. Plus, if you're driving a larger commercial vehicle, good luck. The parking bays are often completely inadequate, and there simply isn't enough high-capacity DC fast charging to get you back on the road quickly. I mean, an 80% success rate? That is just undependable when your mobility is literally on the line.
Which brings us to Section 2, Mobile Charging on Demand.
So how is the industry responding to this? We're starting to see these immediate, micro-level solutions pop up to rescue stranded drivers right on the side of the road. Take AAA, for instance. Their spokesperson recently said something that is a massive relief for EV drivers. AAA is prepared to service any vehicle type, whether gas or electric. They totally get that range anxiety is public enemy number one for adoption, so they're stepping up to be that reassuring safety net for everyday consumers.
Let's break down how this builds on the traditional model. Usually, roadside assistance meant a tow truck awkwardly hauling your dead vehicle to a gas station. But now, look at the AAA EV pilot program. They're deploying highly specialized trucks fully equipped with mobile EV chargers across 16 major metro areas. Instead of towing you, they literally bring the charge to you. They provide just enough range to get you safely home or to the nearest station. Plus, they're baking in digital tools like TripCanvas to help you map out charging stations before you ever leave the driveway.
And if we zoom out to look at the broader boom in the portable EV charger market, passenger cars and two-wheelers make up a huge chunk of the demand. But here's the real kicker. The commercial vehicle segment is actually the fastest growing part of this market. Fleet managers are realizing they absolutely need these mobile, independent power sources to keep their logistics and transport vehicles moving without being chained to a permanent plug.
And that beautifully transitions us into the bigger picture. We need to pivot our focus from individual consumer fears to the massive scale of commercial fleets, because transport is responsible for nearly a quarter of all global emissions. Think about that, a quarter. While passenger cars are electrifying pretty quickly, commercial EV adoption has definitely lagged. To hit our net zero targets, we absolutely have to electrify the heavy traffic, the delivery trucks, and the global transit systems.
Achieving that massive scale requires a total rethink, which leads to Section 3, Charging as a Service.
To really make this leap, the business-to-business industry is ditching the old model of just buying and owning hardware, moving instead to subscribing to fully managed solutions. Because here's the crucial point. A single-stranded driver on the highway? That's a frustrating annoyance. But a stranded delivery fleet? That is an absolute business catastrophe. Commercial operators cannot afford to have their trucks sitting idle. They require guaranteed uptime. They need a system making sure every single vehicle is charged and ready to meet its duty cycle every single morning.
And the demand for that kind of guarantee is driving jaw-dropping financial growth. Get a load of this number, $16.8 billion. That is the projected size of the global EV charging as a service market by the year 2036. It's expanding right now at a massive 20.5% compound annual growth rate. So this isn't a niche market. It is quite literally the future backbone of electric mobility.
So where is all that money actually coming from? The shift away from hardware ownership is accelerating super fast. Today, over half of the market revenue, 55%, comes straight from subscription or pay-per-use fees. Businesses are choosing to pay for guaranteed access, ongoing maintenance, and smart software, rather than taking on the heavy capital expenditure of buying all those chargers outright.
Think of this evolution kind of like the tech industry's shift to cloud computing. It's the exact same vibe. In the traditional model, you had these brutal, high upfront costs, rigid proprietary technology, and the massive burden of fixing things when they broke. But the charging as a service model, that gives fleets lower capital requirements, predictive maintenance, and seamless software integration. It takes the operational burden right off the fleet manager and places it squarely on the service provider.
So how exactly are they guaranteeing that uptime? Let's check out Section 4, Future-Proofing Commercial Fleets.
We're going to look at the exact framework major transit and delivery fleets use to make sure they never run out of power. It all starts with a physical gear. Smart charging hardware forms a really robust foundation, but we have to move beyond those isolated single-function chargers. Fleet electrification isn't just about buying hardware. It's a massive business transformation. You need a unified, scalable platform approach where the hardware is just your baseline, designed to integrate perfectly with intelligent software.
And that brings us to the Charge Assurance Framework. This three-step process is literally how fleets guarantee success. First, you establish that scalable infrastructure foundation we just looked at. Second, you leverage open standards. We're talking protocols like OCCP and OCPI, so you weren't ever locked into one proprietary vendor. And third, you build true resilience by layering smart software and automation on top of everything to oversee the whole shebang. The operational benefits of this framework are just incredible. By combining standard hardware with highly intelligent software, fleets are hitting uptime rates exceeding 99.5%. They get real-time monitoring. Thanks to machine learning, they can actually predict a maintenance issue before the charger even breaks. Actually, scratch that. It's not just about fixing things. Smart energy management can also slash their energy costs by up to 20% by balancing loads and charging during off-peak hours. Now, those open standards I mentioned, that's the secret sauce tying everything together. By using protocols like OCPI, fleet operators achieve true interoperability. Basically, this means a commercial driver can use a single app or RFID card to seamlessly access not just their private home base, but also partner networks and public charging hubs while they're out on the road. And this interoperability leads us to one of the most exciting new trends: depot sharing. We're seeing businesses literally open their private charging facilities to partners and other commercial fleets during their off hours. Imagine a public transit bus depot that charges its buses at night, suddenly opening its gates to local delivery vans during the day. It completely maximizes infrastructure efficiency and significantly lowers the total cost of ownership for everyone involved. It's a real game changer.
So, we've seen how mobile charging rescues stranded drivers and how cloud-like subscriptions are keeping commercial fleets running with that 99.5% uptime. I'll leave you with this provocative thought. If charging is no longer tied to a static, isolated plug, but is instead a dynamic, shared, and intelligent service that meets you exactly where you are, what does the true future of unlimited mobility look like? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the road ahead.